little bit of guide action. So we're looking at account progression, blue diamond spending, in particular with PreT4. So if you're already T4, this one's not for you, as it said in the description. You've done the hard yards, you can kick back and enjoy, or you would think so. Except there's going to be a guide after this one, coming out just shortly after, that looks at post T4 spending and how you can use it to increase your account or progress your account in different regards. So there's one thing that I got to knock off straight away, which is obviously this is PreT4. So if you have, then see you later. Enjoy the next one. And the other thing is what sort of account you're building and what sort of a spender you are as well. So it's going to play a part in some of the recommendations, but for the most part, for this guide, we are just looking at main accounts. Like, I'm not talking about how to build a farm or a HOF or any of these things. We're talking about PreT4 mains that their goal and objective is to reach T4. So to do so, you need to get a few things done. You've got production and military research. They've got to be completed, and you've got 3 buildings. So we'll just switch over to the account here. This is one of my farms, which does already have the buildings 225. It's been gone for a long while and didn't have much else to do. But it does show that, like, even an account that I'm not pushing hard, it does get there eventually. It can feel a bit daunting at times. But you've basically got the Hall of Faces, which has prerequisite of dungeon. And then you've got the Bannerman Hall, which has prerequisite of embassy as well. So each of the 3 buildings has a item that they need to have purchased, and those sort of grow exponentially in number, culminating in a cost of about 225,000 blue diamonds each. Those 3 buildings are required in order to get your Maesters level 25. Once you've done so, you've got the ability to do all the research that you need to do. So you can be working on the research the whole way through. You've got production to get through. Everything except for diamond prospecting. You don't need to worry about that one. Although it is something you may want to consider for those post-KVK diamond mines. Gives you a little bit more gathering speed, which, you know, it doesn't take much to research, and it is going to increase the amount that you can gather, so not a bad option to get it up a little bit at least. Military, you've got to get the whole way through to level 10. So the prerequisite right at the end is effectively everything before, because the prerequisite is the armies, which require all level 10s in the previous. The army armor, weapon and physical training are all pretty brutal, and they do take some time. So it's not as if you can just like slam out the buildings being a high spender and expect to get it done. There is a balance there, and that's something you sort of just got to feel out for yourself. There's no point in spending a lot on research speed-ups, for example, if you haven't got your buildings done, and vice versa. There's no sense in getting the buildings done before you've got the research well underway. So you want to be chipping away at both as best as possible the whole way through. So we'll switch back over. So table 1 here shows the cost of each of those upgrades. As I said, the number of required goes up exponentially, starting at 1 and ending out at 4,500. The total cost is 225, because you've also got a craftsman hammer in there, which is required to get any building to level 25. I've also shown the iron bank here. It is a blue diamond required for upgrading, but it isn't a prerequisite. The reason I've got it shown here though is it's something important to talk about and to look at just in a little bit ahead. So just keep in mind that level 9 here is 98,000 diamond cost, so it gets pretty substantial. So from this, we basically can see that you're going to end up needing at about 675,000 diamonds to get those out of the way. Plus the other buildings to 25, the diamonds for craftsman hammers all add up also. So while it seems like a pretty big deal, you can generate diamonds in a lot of different ways. So the first ones we'll talk about here are the different rebel types. So you've got rebel leaders, rebel groups, and rebel camps. The motivation you have on your main screen can be spent to hit rebel leaders. When you do so, it's going to give you a few different things. Alrighty. So motivation spent. You want to be trying to hit them effectively and efficiently to get as many kills as possible for the secondary reason that you hit them. But primarily, when you do hit them, you're going to get a few different goodies. One of them is upgrades for your gear, or materials to upgrade your gear. So we go in here. We get a few different materials for upgrading gear, some resources, which is always nice, bit of speed ups, and the big thing here is 150 diamonds. So that took 4 hits, which I can get them done in 3 on this account, and we have 6 total with a little bit left over at this point. So that's basically 2 of at about 150. It all adds up if you're continually using that motivation. You don't want to let it sitting idle or maxed out without using it. Now, when you do kill these rebels, it also provides the Alliance as a whole with an Alliance gift. Black-Ear's Expedition, so I killed a 3rd rebel. When you open that, alright, so that was a wood there, but when you open a substantial number, you'll also see blue diamonds in there. The Alliance gifts somewhat is determined by your Alliance level. So if you want to really push an account faster, you want to be aiming to be an Alliance which is a higher level and that has a lot of rebel kills. When you do that, you're going to generate a lot of passive diamonds without actually doing anything yourself except your own, part by killing rebels. The other is endurance spending. So when you hit rebel groups, same thing. You're doing so for other reasons. You're going to get an appearance from it, as well as materials for upgrading some different gear, which helps with research and building speeds, which is very nice considering the length of the research. But when you do, you also have a chance for diamonds yet again. 50 diamonds there. So depending on the rebel leader that you're killing and the level of it, whether it's elite or not, it'll be a varied amount, and sometimes you don't get any at all. But still, it's something you need to be doing for other things, and it will be generating diamonds. The last option is rebel camps. You should keep your merchant guild active all the time, which I haven't got going at the moment. As said, it is a farm. And basically, when you do a rebel camp rally with your alliance, you'll receive a chest. They've just brought in a system which is quite nice for finding out what level chests are without having to use different scouting methods, so we used to have to do so before. So previously, we basically had to have an account that had a chest of the same level and type so that we could check the number. Now when you hover over the box, you can see it's a 12-hour chest. So I would generally avoid that and go for a few 4 hours and an 8-hour or something along those lines. Generally speaking, they work out somewhat similar. There's always a little bit less effectiveness going for 12 hours, but on the same token, if you've got a big work day, you want to keep that thing going. So, having a 12-hour while you're at work or while you're sleeping is perfectly fine. It still rewards and it still possibly contains blue diamonds. So the other option is Training Grounds and the Iron Bank. Now the Training Grounds opens up at about level 12, I think it is. So we're stuck in here. Basically, you're up against your other, anyone on your kingdom, fighting commanders, and dependent on your rank, you'll receive a certain amount every 3 hours, and then also placement prize every 7 days. So let's just take a look here. Rank 1, 500 every 3 hours. Fairly unobtainable for a PreT4 account, depending on the server that you're on. But even if you can sit in the top 100, it still all adds up pretty quick. 125 every 3 hours is not a bad amount of diamonds. Plus, weekly ranking, it can help out. Expedition Beyond is something else that probably you want to look at some point for a few different reasons. But as far as blue diamonds go, it does generate. So depending on the level you're clearing, you're going to get some through it. There is an exception to the rule with spending, so you can put those diamonds back into chests. Now that's sort of up to you. The green gems are handy, but you will be going backwards a little if you're not doing a high enough level and buying both. The good thing about it though is that you can use those gems for refinement. And in that refinement, you've got stuff like motivation recovery, as well as endurance recovery, and research speed, training speed, building speed. So I've sort of left away the building now that I've got the 25s done, but a 60% or near enough to it increase to research and 70% increase to motivation recovery. That all adds up quite a lot, especially for building up your gear and for building up those diamonds. Another option for building up diamonds is Iron Bank. It's the last one I want to talk about, but I'm going to leave it here for now, and I'll do so in the next installment. It's an option for generation and for spending, since it does require blue diamond upgrades, as I said earlier, but it is reasonably expensive, so it's definitely something that needs to be looked in further detail before making a choice on. I'd really encourage you to come back and have a listen to that one, because it's probably the most important thing to consider pre-T4 about how fast your progression is going to be to T4 and whether or not it's worth doing. Alright guys, have a good one. Catch you next time.